various locations via the miracle of Skype. It's the 40th anniversary season of the LTN Hour. Let's talk NASCAR with your host, Todd Bailing, co-hosts Brian Schmidt, PJ Noodleman, and producer Dangerous Dan Margetta. Call the show anytime at 414-421-7901. And now, the creator and host of the fastest hour in radio, Todd Bailing.
And we head to Kansas for a 1.5-mile cookie cutter race. It's part of the Kansas City metro area, right over the state line into Kansas, right off the freeway. Simple to find, should be a good crowd. Good weather, 60s and 25% chance of rain. Good enough, they'll get it in. Hi there. Todd Bailing in Greendale, Wisconsin, joined by the Madison duo of Brian Schmidt and Mystic Dan Margetta. Hi, guys.
Morning.
Yeah, it's a pretty good day to be out here at Madison International Speedway. The Joe Shear race is today. It's one of the bigger races of the year. The ASA Midwest Tour are ready to go, and we're here to cover it.
15,000, did I see that, to win? Plus,
Correct. Yep.
Plus, of all places, the St. Louis racetrack, which is called some kind of Worldwide Technology Raceway, for one reason or another, they are the ones that put up a $3,600 bounty on Ty Majeski out there today, interestingly enough. Where did they come up with $3,600?
36 for Joe Shear.
Joe Shear.
Oh, Joe Shear. I thought they passed a hat, and that's what they came up with.
Have you seen the trophy for this race, too? The little replica. It's a red, white, and blue 36 car of Joe Shear's. It's really cool.
It is cool.
I did see a picture. It's
and
really...
hey, they're getting it. You know, Ty Majeski didn't get to practice at all because he was at the truck race yesterday. So if there's a chance to get that bounty, Ty's going to have the little bit of practice they have here before qualifying today.
Now, remember, he's got to finish on the lead lap.
He does have to finish and up front, or not up front, but at least on the lead lap for that to happen. So last time there was a bounty on him, apparently he DNF'd. So nobody.
That was at Grundy. I think he got moved out of the way pretty aggressively towards the end and finally
Ricky Baker got him. Do I remember that right?
You raced me bad and you put me in a fence to win it. You're not going to win it.
Yeah.
Well, Christopher Bell will start from the pole today down in Kansas. 183.107 miles per hour. That's a 29.49 around a 1.5 mile track. The segments will be at lap 80 and 165. It is a 267 lap race and will be televised on Fox Sports 1 FS1 today with the green flag at 2:13 this afternoon, which coincidentally is about the same time you get underway there at Madison, isn't it?
Yeah, racing's supposed to start at 2 o'clock. Qualifying is at 12:45, I believe.
All right. Well, you can watch it today on Track TV, I believe, or MidwestTour.tv, or if all else fails, drive on out to Madison International Speedway off State Highway 138 between Stoughton and Oregon. We pronounce it Oregon in Wisconsin, and the state is pronounced Oregon. I'm not sure I understand that, but that's just the way it is. And we're glad you're tuned in. By the way, you'll notice that PJ isn't with us. She is en route to the track. She will join us during the program. She might be running up the stairs right as we speak. It's kind of hard to say right now, but she got a late start, and she will be with us before the end of this program. And we're glad. Go ahead, Dan.
Private jet picked her up this morning, and she's on her way. Right?
Yeah. A helicopter, right? We'll see how that works. Racing at Kansas, they did have a truck race last night. Corey Heim stunk it up and won the thing. Ty Majeski started on the front row. Some kind of, I don't know why he cut the tire on the first lap. There are those that believe that Dillon got him. I don't know if that incidental contact is what caused it. It may have, because, I mean, if there was contact, that probably was what put Ty. He cut the tire down and he smacked the wall and was out of the race. The last place car, just not the thing you want to see out of Ty, but that gave him an early jump to get to Madison on time, where he will be racing today. And the ARCA series ran there yesterday, earlier in the day. Connor Mosack. That's the same family-owned deal that Luke won in, wasn't it?
Yes, that's the car, and it won the week prior too. So Toyota had this long stretch of winning all these ARCA races, and now Chevrolet has won 2 in a row. So that was actually a decent race at the end there. One of the grays, I think it was Tanner Gray, was in the Joe Gibbs car, and Connor caught him and passed him and drove away from him, and you don't see that a lot in the ARCA racing. So that was actually pretty decent.
I mentioned Corey Heim won the truck race. It wasn't some kind of reward for winning or anything like that, because Eric Jones, doctors told him he's okay to come back and race, but the team there thought, you know what, he needs another week off, so we're going to put Corey Heim back in the 43 car this week. Qualified right pretty much in the middle of the pack there in 20th place. He will join a couple other folks that don't race all the time. 7-time champion Jimmy Johnson starts 19th. Jimmy, who has not quite figured out this new generation race car. And Derek Kraus, who just was slow as get out in his qualifying run yesterday, will start last. He's significantly off the pace. Dan, I believe they told him the last time he raced that thing, don't worry about qualifying. You're in the race. Just don't wreck the car on qualifying, right?
That had been the strategy every time he's run. When he filled in for A.J. Allmendinger at Richmond, it was the same way. And at Vegas this year, it was the same way. Remember, it was kind of just get through practice. We had practice, I think, in Vegas, and then qualifying, and we'll work on it in a race. I'm looking for a decent run out. I mean, top 20 would be great. If you finish 20th, I mean, that car's not the greatest car out there, but again, where he's at, it's just bring it home, be smart, and do your job.
He is the simulator driver for that team, so he does have a certain amount of experience, at least sitting at the computer for them, and they all use his input, so it's pretty cool. Either way, good luck, Derek. You need it today. And that Kansas race, 2:13 will get underway. If you'd like to participate in this program at any time during the show, 414-421-7901 is the number to call, and we'd love to hear from all of our listeners. Last week at Dover, Delaware, Brian, for one reason, you're getting hot picking them. Maybe it's just because you're sticking with the same guy, huh?
I don't know, but I sure thought Kyle Larson had a faster car, and I sure thought he was going to get by Denny, but he didn't, and it makes me look like I know what I'm doing, which I don't gamble that much. I mean, Dan's the gambler, but
he may have had a faster car. You just can't pass anybody, right?
Yeah, that's the thing with those cars, and that's the disappointing part about it. It's, the one thing you want to see when you race is cars actually getting able to race, but on that mile and a half, I don't know what it was, or that mile. It was only a mile track. He'd get up right behind him, and he was air blocked. That's the word of the week we get is air blocked.
We don't like air blocking.
No. Yeah, I thought Dale Earnhardt Sr. was the only guy who could see the air, but evidently Denny Hamlin can see it now, too, because he was doing it with the air.
Yeah, and they all kind of are. The more they race these things, the more they understand how to win by it just never paid so much to be the leader as it is these days.
That's the frustrating thing, is that, okay, guy wants to block you and air block, but you can't even get to his bumper because of that air. That's if you could get to him and just give him a shot and move him out of the way, so quit doing that, it'd be great, but you can't even get to him.
That's where it came up this week in one of the press conferences. I think it was Kyle Busch there talking about how Kyle Larson said, I wish they'd get rid of those mirrors, or those camera mirrors they have, it's kind of acts like it's supposed to be like a mirror. And Kyle Busch goes, absolutely. I think they should get rid of it altogether. And then you'd be able to race, because now a guy can just basically watch his camera, kind of like what you have in your own personal vehicle now. You have that camera in the back, and that's what you're using to do your blocking. And if you were able to get rid of that, maybe then it would be, you still have your spotter, but it might give you a little bit more of a chance to not do it, because now you can use that camera, and you literally, that's how you're air blocking. It's kind of like when you take your pickup truck and back up to a trailer. Now, that used to take a half an hour for some people to hook up a trailer. Now with that camera, you can get the ball right on the hitch. So these guys are using that to block the air. And
Cup Series is in Kansas. The boys are in Madison. The girl is on her way, and we'll take a break and be right back.
From racing engines to street engines, long blocks to turnkey packages, or complete custom engines. Just ask and Wagner Automotive can fill your needs. All backed by many years of racing experience. These years of experience have provided reliability and performance that customers need to win races. Wagner's has been building championship winning engines for top teams from NASCAR to short tracks in your backyard. This expertise has carried over to street engines they supply to top custom car builders. The Wagner Company in the heart of Wisconsin is outfitted with the state-of-the-art machinery necessary to design, manufacture, build, and test custom engines and their accessory parts. Dyno services are independently available for anyone needed to test their engine. Wagner's Company can also provide you or your company with production CNC machining or welding services. All your questions and requests are handled personally by Casey Wagner. Just give us a call at 920-394-3557 or visit our website at WagnerAutomotive.com.
Be at the Fair Park in Plymouth this Saturday night for an exciting night of racing. Wing Sprint Cars, Grand Nationals, B-Mods, and the Super 6 Late Model Series. Saturday, May 11th, your Our Heroes Night. Free admission to anyone in law enforcement, firefighters, EMTs, and veterans. Pits open at 2, gates at 4. Opening ceremony at 5. The IRA returns May 18th along with the Plymouth Dirt Track Racing MSA Sprints, Wisconsin Wingless Sprints. On-track action at 5:30. We'll see you there.
Spring is in the air, and PMF Landscape Supply in West Bend has everything you need, with fresh mulch arriving daily, from premium hardwood mulch to hemlock and pine bark to Enviro mulch in red, gold, chocolate brown, and black colors. PMF also has a large variety of decorative stone and granite, as well as field stone, topsoil, and compost. For all your landscaping needs, visit PMF Landscape Supply, 5470 River Road in West Bend. Call 262-338-8800 or visit pmflandscape.com. Friends of racing for many years, PMF Landscape Supply in West Bend.
Time to win some bonus bucks.
Bonus bucks.
Listen for your chance to win $1,000.
Dollar bills yell. Listen for the keyword Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, and enter it on our website, thebig920.com.
Welcome back to LTN. The phone rings, and it's Rick Hendrick. And most people take the call and do whatever it is that Rick Hendrick is asking. And it was an interesting thing this week because Rick Hendrick himself called Kevin Harvick and said, look, Kyle Larson's going to be at Indianapolis practicing and qualifying his IndyCar, and I'm going to need somebody to drive the 5 for the All-Star race at North Wilkesboro. Would you please do it for me? And Kevin Harvick said, of course I will. Practice and qualifying, that's not taking Harvick out of the booth for that long. And Harvick, I think he would jump at the opportunity. It's good for Fox. It's good for Harvick. It's good for the whole program to see Kevin back in a car again. And, kind of cool, pretty good driver in that 5 car too. It's not he may be a little older, but he still knows how to. He hasn't been out of it that long.
No, I think it's a good pick to get if you're looking for somebody to fill in for you. And he may do heat races too. It all depends on qualifying in Indianapolis.
Yeah, how about that? I mean, what an idea or a great opportunity for Fox. You're going to get a guy that's actually going to go out on the track, participate, and then be able to jump right into booth and tell you exactly what is going on, from a feeling standpoint of how the car feels and what the new asphalt is like there and everything. I mean, that's awesome for Fox.
It's win-win for Fox and for Harvick and for the whole program. Yeah, I think you're right, and it's pretty cool. Now, I didn't really look at the schedule. Brian, I know you keep track of this sort of thing. There is no issue as far as Larson making the All-Star race. He's just going to get there late, right?
Yeah, and it all depends upon where he qualifies. So they got different segments of qualifying there. If he gets into the top 12, then they qualify the top 12 guys between 2 and 3 o'clock Eastern time, and then if you make the Fast 6, they do a Fast 6 runoff from 5:15 to 5:45. So if Kyle doesn't make the Fast 6, he'll be out of there by 3 o'clock. Now if he's slow and he has to do last chance qualifying, that goes from 4 to 5. So if he's a car that's on the bubble, not in the show, he'll have to hang around there too. So they really don't know when he's going to be there, but at the very latest, and if he gets the pole, I mean, then he's going to be hanging around a little longer because there's interviews and all that kind of stuff. Then it might be touch and go, but it's all going to depend upon how fast his IndyCar is.
I don't see him having a hard time making the race. I do think, though, that if he does win the pole, and, that may be a kind of a pipe dream that he'd actually win the pole or not. I think that he would say, I'd like to answer your questions, but I got a race. And, but the next question is, where do you fly into the North Wilkesboro International Airport?
Charlotte and Concord and drive up. It's
helicopters.
Yeah,
they used to do a lot of helicopter stuff back in the day. I'm sure Hendrick is going to have all that stuff, the logistics figured out. I mean, Hendrick signed off on this. Hendrick's got his name on the side of the IndyCar. So he's all about making this experience work. So I'm sure they're gonna go with the flow, and they'll have all those I's dotted and T's crossed.
Remember when Robbie Gordon, John Andretti, and Stewart did the double? They helicoptered them, and he landed right in the infield at Charlotte.
Yeah. So I'm sure they'll have all that figured out.
And the crowd, as the helicopters coming in and the announcers, here he comes. It's pretty cool. Especially since I don't know how many helicopters hang out at the North.
Just don't park cars where the helicopter's supposed to land.
Yeah. Let's not do what we do in Milwaukee.
Yeah, well, we're still learning. This has been a week of little tidbits of news that have all been circulating around. I think it's interesting that when Ricky Stenhouse, and he signed an extension that'll take him through 2026. So it's only a 2-year extension with what we've always called and known as JTG Doherty Racing. Brad Doherty, we can figure out. Who's all the JTG? Well, we have this guy named Tad Geschickter, who I'm going to say might be the TG. But I didn't know who the J was. I don't think any of us knew who the J was or what that stood for. So the car owner, Gordon Smith, some guy named Gordon Smith made a release saying we have signed Ricky Stenhouse to a 2-year extension. I don't know who Gordon Smith is. I didn't know he was part of the team. And where does the GS come in JTG? Not real sure. But, Dan, it turns out the plot thickens a little bit because as we mentioned recently on the program, the rumor was that there's a chance that Kroger, who has been a sponsor on that 47 car forever, may be headed over to Joe Gibbs Racing. And where can this possibly tie in any other rumors?
Yeah, that's weird because I know I think it was Tad Geschickter has some kind of a firm where he does like sponsorships and stuff, and that's kind of with the Kroger deal. He was doing some work with Joe Gibbs. That's where the whole rumor came out that he's going to take the Kroger deal over to Joe Gibbs maybe next year or sooner. And that's what made it kind of weird when Ricky Stenhouse signed an extension there. So obviously people thought, well, if the sponsor goes, what's that team going to do? Maybe they'll go away. Well, obviously they're not now. They're going to be around for another 2 years. So what's in the works ownership-wise there? I mean, there's a lot going on, I think, behind the scenes that we don't know yet, and I think it could be pretty crazy. I mean, a lot of rumors flying out there that this silly season might be pretty nuts, more nuts than normal. And this is one of the things that are starting to trigger that off because I really thought, why would Stenhouse stick around for a team if the sponsor is going to go? There must be something going on there that long-term is worthwhile.
And when you think about it, the silly season itself is not even what the major issue is. The major issue is the contract between the teams and NASCAR. Michael Jordan weighed in this week, and here's his opinion. If you had permanent charters, you could create a revenue stream either with new investors or different types of sponsorships that would subsidize the type of variance between ownership and the league. That's a big, big miss right there. If you don't correct that, the sport's going to die, not because of the competition aspect, because economically it doesn't make sense for any business people. Those are some pretty crazy words. There's a lot to it. And the parallels between IndyCar, the history of IndyCar racing and NASCAR, we'll touch on them just a little bit when we come back.
Super League Model Racing returns to MIS Sunday afternoon, May 5th. The Joe Shear Classic 200. See the stars and cars of the ASA Midwest Tour. Battle on Wisconsin's fastest half mile for $15,000. Plus Midwest Trucks. Advanced discount tickets at MISRacing.com. Hear the UW Band perform the national anthem. ASA Midwest Tour plus Midwest Trucks. The Joe Shear Classic 200. It's the biggest race of the year. Sunday afternoon, May 5th. First race, 2 o'clock. Madison International Speedway. Don't miss it.
As a growing manufacturing company, we needed security solutions. We chose Bonafide because of the services they offer, pricing, and trusted reputation. But it's their outstanding service and support that convinced us we made the right choice with Bonafide.
When businesses need security, they contact Bonafide Security Solutions. From locks and alarms to safes and surveillance, we do it all. We are Bonafide. We protect what you value. For your free security survey, call us today or visit bonafidesafe.com.
Miller Sales and Service is the Midwest's #1 Bravo trailer dealer for customer service and satisfaction. Serving the area since 1939, Miller's is located on the corner of Highway 57 and K in Random Lake. As the Midwest's #1 Bravo trailer dealer, Miller's has all kinds of Bravo trailers from 8 feet to 48 feet in stock. They also have a selection of B&B utility and dump trailers, reliable and Chilton open aluminum and steel trailers. With over 50 pre-owned low-mileage cars, trucks, and SUVs, Miller's has just the vehicle you are looking for. Miller's also carries a full line of Alumacraft boats and Manitou pontoon boats, complete with Evinrude outboards. Why not buy from racers who know what racers want and need? With Miller's Sales and Service on the corner of Highway 57 and K in Random Lake. Call Jerry, Tom, or Brad Miller today at 920-994-4358. That's Miller's Sales and Service, 920-994-4358.
On the latest Larrabee and LePay podcast, we break down the Packers draft and the draft overall with our guest Matt Steidman from The Athletic.
I think we could see as many as 3 rookies start.
Plus, with the transfer portal closing, we'll talk a little Badger basketball and the team's transfer portal acquisitions.
The Larrabee and LePay podcast.
It's what Wisconsin is talking about.
Available on iHeartRadio or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Presented by UW Credit Union. Here for every you.
Thanks to Aaron and whoever else called. Somebody called that straightened me out on JTG. It's Jody and Tad Geschickter. Nobody mentions Gordon Smith in there anywhere, so we're still trying to figure out who that is. Hey, I understand you have a a rather late arrival up in the tower at Madison.
I'm here, yes. Thank you to the Tesla driver who liked to ride in the Hammer lane almost all the way here from the Dells.
You don't hate Teslas enough, right? And you got to be slow in the left lane.
That and Illinois drivers on their way back to their lovely state here on Sunday.
Was he air blocking you?
He was air blocking me, yes. So, yeah. Sorry I'm late, but I'm here and I'm excited. The weather is great here at Madison.
All right. And thanks for catching up to us. We appreciate it. Right before break, I was mentioning there's some pretty crazy and unpleasant parallels between NASCAR's position of negotiation right now and have we learned nothing from history whatsoever. This sounds vaguely similar to the IndyCar mess we went through several years ago, guys.
Yeah, it kind of does. I mean, we all said we're not going to do it because we learned from that mistake and we weren't going to go that way, but the more we go down this road, it seems to kind of steer that way. I mean, if you think, I get what Michael Jordan's saying. He comes from the NBA where, like he says, the league works for all the franchises. You know, the league's in place to do, you know, at the behest of all the franchises to do what they do. This is different in NASCAR. We didn't have franchises before. It's something new, and NASCAR runs the show. The teams don't run the show. And right now we're kind of at a standstill where you have to work out a deal where both sides have some kind of say in it, and it's kind of sticky, and it's been sticky for a couple of years now. Now, you know, NASCAR on their hand, they're not negotiating with the negotiating committee anymore. They're just going separately, each smaller team, and talking to them, kind of a divide and conquer strategy. I see that as, I don't know if it's working so far in their favor, but overall, is it really worth doing that? I mean, if it gets real bad, it can end up like CART, and then, you know,
everybody leaves.
That's what.
Yeah, and you form your own. You form a different series. NASCAR sits there and thinks that these guys aren't going to go anywhere because they got nowhere else to go. Well, sure they do. There's tracks all over the place. And if you don't think you're making enough money the way it is, these guys are going to go somewhere else where, maybe the cost won't be as high and the travel won't be as much, and they're going to go be able to race.
Do you have to run cup cars? Can you go build the super late and come out to places like this?
Right.
The other thing is that NASCAR is now run by multi-generations after the ones who actually started it, right? So those folks have kind of had a privileged attitude about how to do things, very cavalier, because this is how it's always been. They've only known the glory days, right? Money-wise, glory days. They haven't really known the glory days of the hard knuckle banging, trying to get things together. So they didn't really do all the work. They're just enjoying it, as far as I'm concerned.
This is a little bit, I think, of, when you look at NASCAR and the amount of money they think they need to have, look at the business decisions they made over the last 4 or 5 years. You're paying for all these facilities. They own about half the facilities on the property. They got facilities that are just sitting there empty. They're not even using.
And they're building ones for running their season opener.
Right. So they go to Chicago now and spend millions of dollars to build a street circuit when you got a facility down the road, which by all means, these new cars would probably race perfectly there. You spend all the money on the Coliseum to appease some of your networks. I think they got to get a little smarter with their money, too, to make this work. And I think that's where the teams are saying, hey, wait a minute here. You're not giving us our cut, but yet you're going out and spending money foolishly and making us travel across the country to race in the Coliseum, which you didn't get any money for. So, I think that's where the push and shoving is coming here. And I agree a lot with the teams. This stuff is only getting more expensive as every day goes by.
They did make a pretty good business decision there by getting rid of Brian France, which probably helped a lot. But help me remember this. Between the three of you, can you possibly remember the difference with the way Dan was presenting the Michael Jordan dialogue there had to do with in the NBA, the league works for the franchises. The difference, I think, isn't International Speedway Corporation publicly traded, or did they stop and buy that out? I can't remember.
That a while ago. They went private.
They did. Okay.
Right before I think the truck thing happened, yeah.
Yeah, for a while they were publicly traded, which might have been a difference. But, of course, now we're back to,
SMI publicly traded yet? SMI isn't either anymore? Because they used to be, but, yeah, they're not either.
The thing is with Michael Jordan, though, if NASCAR ticks him off, that's, to me, he'll carry a lot of weight, even though he hasn't been in this sport very long, just because he has tremendous respect across all aspects.
Yes.
So if they tick him off and he speaks out about it, then NASCAR's seriously going to have a bunch of...
And he's already doing that, probably prodded by his co-owner over there, don't you think?
And I saw a comment that said, if somebody wants to come in and be a part of the Dallas Cowboys, the Dallas Cowboys are going to be there all the time. Without a permanent charter in 7 years, this may not be around anymore, and that's why it's hard to get somebody to invest in their own team that way, because they want some longevity.
Boy, oh boy. It seems like you would hope by now they would be heading the right direction, and I'm just not sure that's happening. What are the chances that when we get to Daytona, they don't have an agreement in place? What happens to our sport and all the contracts between sponsors and television, and they don't have it going? Can the teams just say, well, we're not going to race? I think that would put them in danger of losing sponsors, don't you?
I don't know, and it hasn't got that way, and it's not even close to getting that way yet. But I think everybody's saying, "Hey, the time's running out," and everybody's saying the right things, like we're not going to let that happen. But sometimes you just don't, see what's going on until it's too late. And I think you need to get a little more positive things that way, just to avoid that, because that would really be look what it did to IndyCar. A 12-year civil war really took them off, and they still haven't recovered from it.
No.
And I think that's why you got the Cars Tour, and you got the ASA Stars Tour, and all those places like that. They're waiting to step up in the wings should NASCAR implode.
I was going to say, the fact that you have Earnhardt and Harvick and Jeff Burton all involved, as you mentioned earlier, with that Cars Tour, it's almost as if they're trying to lay that shadow groundwork to be prepared if and when this happens.
We have the luxury of looking back at history and seeing what it did to other series and knowing that we can't go down that road and we need to get our heads out of our asses, and I'm not real sure that that's happening. So, interesting. It's been a big week. Well, the legal business. It's one thing to be on track. It's one thing to be negotiating. It's another one in court. There were 2 court cases this week. We'll discuss that and some other stuff when we come back.
As a growing manufacturing company, we needed security solutions. We chose Bonafide because of the services they offer, pricing, and trusted reputation. But it's their outstanding service and support that convinced us we made the right choice with Bonafide.
When businesses need security, they contact Bonafide Security Solutions. From locks and alarms to safes and surveillance, we do it all. We are Bonafide. We protect what you value. For your free security survey, call us today or visit bonafidesafe.com.
Spring is in the air, and PMF Landscape Supply in West Bend has everything you need, with fresh mulch arriving daily, from premium hardwood mulch to hemlock and pine bark to Enviro mulch in red, gold, chocolate brown, and black colors. PMF also has a large variety of decorative stone and granite, as well as field stone, topsoil, and compost. For all your landscaping needs, visit PMF Landscape Supply, 5470 River Road in West Bend. Call 262-338-8800 or visit pmflandscape.com. Friends of racing for many years. PMF Landscape Supply in West Bend.
Be at the Fair Park in Plymouth this Saturday night for an exciting night of racing. Wing Sprint Cars, Grand Nationals, B-Mods, and the Super 6 Late Model Series. Saturday, May 11th, your Our Heroes Night. Free admission to anyone in law enforcement, firefighters, EMTs, and veterans. Pits open at 2, gates at 4. Opening ceremony at 5. The IRA returns May 18th along with the Plymouth Dirt Track Racing MSA Sprints, Wisconsin Wingless Sprints. On-track action at 5:30. We'll see you there.
After dropping the first 2 games in this best-of-5 series, the Milwaukee Admirals return home Wednesday to host the Texas Stars. It's an elimination game. Back to Del Gaizo, right dot, Del Gaizo, left circle, score! Ozzie Weisblatt! Pre-game coverage will start at 6:30. Face-off is at 7 p.m.
A reminder that the LTN podcast is available at iHeart, iTunes, and all major platforms. Also, don't forget PJ's Racing Nuggets, available where, PJ?
Same as the LTN, and not on iHeart, but it's on all the major platforms, anywhere you get your podcasts, as well as YouTube. And on Tuesday, the new episode will drop, and it's Dean Strom. He's our guest.
Oh, nice. Oh, I got to see that one. That's going to be outstanding. And by the way, Dean is at Madison today getting ready to do the Track TV or Midwest Tour.tv broadcast of today's Joe Scheer Memorial Race at Madison. A couple things happened this week. Kyle Busch Motorsports, which I didn't think it was still a thing, but it's enough of a thing to get to court. They had a lawsuit for $325,000 against Rev Racing, which is that diversity group. That was the lawsuit was dropped probably because there was out-of-court settlement there, which good for Kyle. That's try to get some money back out of that deal. And our favorite crazy chick who used to go out with Kurt Busch, who famously at one time said the following:
I like to shoot as much as I like to dance and have sex.
That's our girl. Well, our sexy little thing got, by the time she got done in court, she ended up with what I think is just a little bitty slap on the wrist. 2 years probation, a fine of, drum roll please, $75 and 240 hours of community service.
She probably had $75 in her purse, I'm guessing.
Yeah. She, when she went through that business with Kurt Busch, she was from that community, that foundation that supported veterans, and that's what she abused the money, and that's what the whole thing was about. But, when she tried to take Kurt Busch down, she claimed physical abuse from him. It turns out, we find out, that she did the same thing to several men over decades. I'm a little bit disappointed she only got 2 years probation and some community service. She needed to go away for a while. Oh, well, the courts did their thing, and good for them. So,
and it's a lesson to all boys out there. Make sure you're thinking with the right head.
Sometimes that's not an easy thing to do. It came out this week. If you watched the race at Dover last week, you saw there was a pretty major fire in the 41 car, and Preece was out of the race and was, they couldn't fix it. And turns out this week that they admitted they made a mistake, that they had incorrectly installed bolts between the headers and the collectors. Of course, I don't really know what the hell that all entails, but it turns out all of the Stewart-Haas cars had the same issue, but the Prius's was the only one that caught fire. So good for them, Also, SVG, our buddy Shane Van Gisbergen, who seems to me to be a very interesting guy to keep an eye on as he's working his way into NASCAR. He won the race in Chicago for Trackhouse last year, as we all remember. Surprise! And turns out that made him eligible for the All-Star race. But in the meantime, he signed a contract to drive for Colleague, who said, yeah, we're not going to have a car for him. Sorry. And so SVG will not be involved in the All-Star race, which seems to be a kind of a shame. There's nothing in any rules anywhere that would say that he couldn't drive a car for someone else unless his contract with Colleague says that, isn't it, Dan?
I think if it's fun to ride, he could do it. I'm surprised nobody stepped up and brought a car just with a name like that and the recognition and everything that went with that Chicago win, even not only in the States, but kind of worldwide. I mean, he's pretty popular over in New Zealand, too. And you'd think that somebody would get a car together. And the Trackhouse car, I realize that you can't just bring a car to mothball and bring it to the racetrack, but you think it's a big miss in my part.
But at the same time, if they wait, this is going to draw more attention to it, and then they'll have even a bigger splash when they do put something together.
This is a sign doesn't that show the sign of the times, though? There used to be so much money in that All-Star race that back in the day that open race would have, sometimes they'd have 25, 30 cars in that open race alone just because of the amount of money you could win to get in there, where now as you're basically telling me it ain't worth it, there's a car that's guaranteed a spot in there, and it's not enough. The financial gains isn't worth putting a car on the track. That to me is eye-opening.
Yeah. Well, remember, Colleague has 2 other cars that are in the event already. Maybe they just don't have enough equipment. It doesn't seem like it would be the case or that would be the reason, but that's what they're saying. We just don't have a car for them. So I think that's interesting. Hey,
our team like Daytona, those teams show up. Like 62 car shows up at a couple races. You think someone could go with them and say, just bring your car here. We need your car is what we need. We can get everything else together and put something together for it. There's cars available if you put the right deal together. It's just hard to get all the deals together too, I suppose. That's more than we know.
The sponsorship, what does he have? Wendy's is one of them.
WeatherTech is on his Xfinity car.
WeatherTech. And yeah, it would seem logical. And PJ, I like the thought of that. They probably are advertising for, he won't be in the race. Well, if there's a spot waiting for him, it has to pay something to start, doesn't it? Enough to cover expenses.
That's how marketers work, though. They want to make their move when it's going to make the biggest impact, and it'll be like the big news if they pull it together in the 11th hour.
Speaking of 11th hour, notice that segue. At the 11th hour, at 11 o'clock at night, as a matter of fact, a mysterious fire in Spartansburg, South Carolina. We remember that as being the hometown of David Pearson. Some of us may remember also that it was the hometown of Bud Moore, the number 15 car, Bud Moore Engineering. The building burned down at 11 o'clock at night. What could have started a fire at 11 o'clock at night in an abandoned building? It's not like, a Hales Corners, like that mysterious fire they had at the hot dog stand at Hales Corners that time. But I don't know. It seems kind of odd, Dan. I don't know about you, but middle of the night at Budmore. Let's get rid of this building. What's the
moonshine? It's a still. Probably had an accident.
It might still be doing it. That's a beautiful thing. Dan, apparently they had an analytics class this week for most of the drivers at Stewart-Haas Racing.
Yeah, it sounds like they had a class to go look at how study speed and how improve your performance. And apparently there was only 3 seats for the 4 drivers because Noah Gregson, Josh Berry, and Chase Briscoe all went, but Ryan Preece didn't. And then they asked him about it. He said, well, I didn't get invited. So there apparently was only 3 seats in that school and or that class, and he's out and out.
Wonder who's on the hot seat.
Coincidentally, at the same time, we hear that Stewart, as he told me point blank, is looking to sell one of his charters. Well, let's send 3 of the drivers to this class and the other one, well, not so much. Does that have anything to do with it? Really? We'll be back.
Super League Model Racing returns to MIS Sunday afternoon, May 5th. The Joe Shear Classic 200. See the stars and cars of the ASA Midwest Tour. Battle on Wisconsin's fastest half mile for $15,000. Plus Midwest trucks. Advanced discount tickets at MISRacing.com. Hear the UW Band perform the national anthem. ASA Midwest Tour plus Midwest trucks. The Joe Shear Classic 200. It's the biggest race of the year. Sunday afternoon, May 5th. First race, 2 o'clock. Madison International Speedway. Don't miss it.
Miller Sales and Service is the Midwest's #1 Bravo trailer dealer for customer service and satisfaction. Serving the area since 1939, Miller's is located on the corner of Highway 57 and K in Random Lake. As the Midwest's #1 Bravo trailer dealer, Miller's has all kinds of Bravo trailers from 8 feet to 48 feet in stock. They also have a selection of B&B utility and dump trailers, reliable and Chilton open aluminum and steel trailers. With over 50 pre-owned low-mileage cars, trucks, and SUVs, Miller's has just the vehicle you are looking for. Miller's also carries a full line of Alumacraft boats and Manitou pontoon boats, complete with Evinrude outboards. Why not buy from racers who know what racers want and need? With Miller's Sales and Service on the corner of Highway 57 and K in Random Lake. Call Jerry, Tom, or Brad Miller today at 920-994-4358. That's Miller's Sales and Service, 920-994-4358.
Spring is in the air, and PMF Landscape Supply in West Bend has everything you need, with fresh mulch arriving daily, from premium hardwood mulch to hemlock and pine bark to Enviro mulch in red, gold, chocolate brown, and black colors. PMF also has a large variety of decorative stone and granite, as well as field stone, topsoil, and compost. For all your landscaping needs, visit PMF Landscape Supply, 5470 River Road in West Bend. Call 262-338-8800 or visit pmflandscape.com. Friends of racing for many years. PMF Landscape Supply in West Bend.
Get the latest news and golf instruction from Steve and Bobby Stricker, Dennis Tiziani, Travis Becker, Mike Heller, Gary D'Amato, plus other special guests and me, Paul Brown. Talking Golf is brought to you by American Family Insurance. Insure carefully. Dream fearlessly. That's Talking Golf, Monday night at 6 p.m. on the Big 920, Milwaukee's sports station.
LTN Hour presents Dirt on the Dirt with Brian Schmidt.
A full week of dirt track racing across the country will start Tuesday night in Beaver Dam, Wisconsin. The IMCA Stock Cars, Jeremy Christians was your winner, and then the rains came and washed out the modified portion of the feature. Wednesday night, Jacksonville, Illinois, the World of Outlaw NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car Series was there for $12,000 to win. 56 cars showed up, including 6 NASCAR Cup guys. It was incredible, the amount of people that showed up for that little bitty track in that little town. David Gravel got the win, passing Kyle Larson right at the end. The other 2 Cup guys, Chase Briscoe and Stenhouse, did not make the feature event that night. Chilton, Wisconsin, Friday night, Gravity Park. The late models were there. They had a special event. Brad Miller got the win. Modifieds went to Steve Miller, no relation. The Grand Nationals went to Maverick Rue, and Stock Cars was Mitch Meyer. Luxembourg opened up. They're back to Friday nights again. Like they were many years ago. In the modifieds, it was Benji Lacrosse. Stock Cars was Sean Havel. Seymour also running Friday nights. The modifieds, Connor Walensky, and the Stock Cars was Brandon Shirapada. Across the state, Menominee, Wisconsin, the Red Cedar Raceway, the Wissota modifieds went to Jason Richardson. Jim Falls. The Eagle Valley Speedway opened up Friday night. Wissota modified winner was Taylor Olson. The USRA Limited Lates went to Cade Nelson. Darlington, Wisconsin, the Lafayette County Speedway opened up. Their opener, modified winner, was Jeff Larson. Limited Lates went to Ethan Pickard. Farmer City, Illinois, the UMP late model feature winner there was Garrett Alberson. Down in Banner, Illinois, at Spoon River Speedway, the UMP late models, Jason Fager. Over at Mississippi Thunder Speedway in Fountain City, Wisconsin, World of Outlaw Case Construction late models were there for their Dairyland Showdown, $25,000 to win. Nick Hoffman got the win. And in the modifieds, it's the ONUM, One Nation Under Modifieds. It's a new series. They're going to have that $100,000 to win race at the end of the month. $3,000 to win there. Jim Chisholm was your winner. Kansas City, Kansas, outside the Speedway there, where the Cup Series is this weekend. The Lakeside Speedway High Limit Sprint Car Series was there. Brad Sweet got the win. And down in Eldora Speedway Friday night, Let's Race 2 for the World of Outlaws Sprint Cars was Sheldon Houdenchild, and the Amsoil National Sprint Cars went to Robert Ballou. Last night, we had rainouts on the eastern side of the state. Plymouth, Wilmot, Rice Lake, and 141 all rained out. Shawano did race. Brett Swedberg won on the late models. The modifieds went to Marcus Yari. Stock cars went to Travis Welsh. Cedar Lake got the race in. The IRA Sprint Cars were there, and Scotty Thiel, good friend of mine, picked up his first feature win of the season. Knoxville, Iowa opened up their season last night. Aaron Reitzel was your winner in the Sprint Cars. Fairbury, Illinois, Garrett Alberson made it 2 for 2 as he tunes up for next week's Lucas Oil races down there, winning at Fairbury. Night number 2 of the Dairyland Showdown for the World of Outlaw Case Construction late models. Ryan Gustin got a last lap pass of Bobby Pierce to get the win. Pretty exciting race in the modifieds. That went to Lucas Schott. Rossburg, Ohio, Let's Race 2, night number 2 of the World of Outlaw Sprint Cars. David Gravel with a last lap pass over Donnie Schatz for the win. The USAC Sprint Cars went to Justin Grant. And finally, last night, Kansas City, Kansas, the High Limit Sprint Car Series, $50,000 to win, went to Brad Sweet. He grabbed that one, and that is everything for this week.
In the world of asphalt, on Friday, the Cars Tour was running at Ace Speedway. The Pro Late Models, Caden Quapple was your winner. His brother Carson picking up the win for the Late Models Stock Cars.
Wow.
Dad Travis, prouder than a peacock, more than likely.
Yes.
A lot of tracks got rained out across Wisconsin last night, but we'll go back to Saturday yet, though, too. Dells Raceway Park ran the late models. Jesse Bernhagen was the winner. The modifieds, Jerry Blystone. And Dave Trout picked up the win for the sportsman division. The NASCAR Wheel and Modifieds ran out in New Hampshire at Monodoc Speedway. Jake Johnson was your winner there. And then today we have the ASA Midwest Tour Joe Shear Classic. $15,000 to win. There's a bounty on Ty Majeski. So if somebody can beat Ty and he has to be on the lead lap, they'll pick up an extra $3,600. I can't wreck him to do it, though. And I'm not sure if Ty gets the money if he wins. One would think that that would be the Dick Trickle rule. Wasn't that the way it goes? So we would hope so. Yesterday in practice for this event, Luke Fenhouse was fastest, so he's definitely going to be a contender here today. Casey Johnson back behind the wheel again. Good to see. He was your 2022 winner here. Dalton Zare also up on the speed charts as well, always in the thick of it. A lot of the regulars here as well, too, to make a hit at it. And then, of course, we talked about this before. Scott Hansen going to be in the Midwest Trucks this afternoon. He's been practicing. It's Jerry Wood's car or truck that he's been driving. It's 73. I'm not sure why they didn't change the 7 to a 5, though. Wouldn't that have made more sense?
Yeah, that would have been cool.
So anyway, Scott Hansen going to be running again. That's great.
One more quick short track note from Elaine Miller. She said, for those that are going to be going to Beaver Dam on Tuesday night, there's a rumor that Fuzzy Fosbender's old Corvair car, which is normally housed at the Wisconsin Short Track Hall of Fame, will be making an appearance Tuesday night at Beaver Dam. So if you're going out there, check that out. That'll be pretty cool to see.
That's a nice little nugget.
It is.
Elaine always has good little nuggets.
Oh, yeah. She always gives me a big heads up, too. She gave me like a 30-second heads up for that.
That's okay. We got the heads up. That's pretty neat. Hey, speaking of races, Dangerous Dan bet on Mystic Dan yesterday, didn't you? And how much did you win, Dan?
Well, you got to pick the horse that's got Dan in it. I mean, I put it as part of the trifecta. I actually hit this $1 trifecta. It was like $1,100.
Wow.
Jeez.
You know, there
I'm
are
try
people
to get
in this
that
world.
golden horseshoe out of your
back.
where
is it?
Exactly right. How do you do? How do you listen? I
boxed this. I didn't have exactly. I boxed it. They come in any order, but I did include the Dan horse in there.
And you won, but you won more than one too, didn't you?
Well, I had an exact bet as well with. I split that with my mom because she wanted to do that, and that came through. That was like $250.
Only hardly even mentioned that. Only stinking.
I love that your family gambles together. I mean, wow, that is so Midwest.
Anytime I even think about gambling on something, I lose. But then when I Lance pick, I win. But as soon as I put money on it, I don't win.
I'll tell you a story. About 2 years ago, we were in Fountain City for the World Outlaw race, and it was Kentucky Derby Day, and I had made one of those bets for the Superfect, I think it was, and a horse got scratched, and they threw it in at the last minute, and I was going to try to take my bet back and add that, which you can't do. You got to make another bet. It was like $150. I mean, I don't want to spend $150, so I put like $5 or $10 on a dumb thing to win, and it pulled it off at like 80-1. It paid like $800.
I know. I think I remember sitting at the restaurant and you're explaining this to me. I'm like, what in the hell are you talking about? The Kentucky Derby. Totally forgot it happened.
And if I would have done it like I wanted to and spent that extra $150, that was $321,000.
Yes. Yeah.
Unbelievable. Horseshoe in his ass. That's exactly right. We'll be back.
From racing engines to street engines, long blocks to turnkey packages, or complete custom engines, just ask and Wagner Automotive can fill your needs. All backed by many years of racing experience. These years of experience have provided reliability and performance that customers need to win races. Wagner's has been building championship winning engines for top teams from NASCAR to short tracks in your backyard. This expertise has carried over to street engines they supply to top custom car builders. The Wagner Company in the heart of Wisconsin is outfitted with the state-of-the-art machinery necessary to design, manufacture, build, and test custom engines and their accessory parts. Dyno services are independently available for anyone needed to test their engine. Wagner's Company can also provide you or your company with production CNC machining or welding services. All your questions and requests are handled personally by Casey Wagner. Just give us a call at 920-394-3557 or visit our website at WagnerAutomotive.com. Spring is in the air, and PMF Landscape Supply in West Bend has everything you need, with fresh mulch arriving daily, from premium hardwood mulch to hemlock and pine bark to Enviro mulch in red, gold, chocolate brown, and black colors. PMF also has a large variety of decorative stone and granite, as well as field stone, topsoil, and compost. For all your landscaping needs, visit PMF Landscape Supply, 5470 River Road in West Bend. Call 262-338-8800 or visit pmflandscape.com. Friends of racing for many years. PMF Landscape Supply in West Bend.
On the latest Larrabee and LePay podcast, we break down the Packers draft and the draft overall with our guest Matt Steidman from The Athletic.
I think we could see as many as 3 rookies start.
Plus, with the transfer portal closing, we'll talk a little Badger basketball and the team's transfer portal acquisitions.
The Larrabee and LePay podcast.
It's what Wisconsin is talking about.
Available on iHeartRadio or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Presented by UW Credit Union. Here for every you.
And welcome back. Glad you're with us. Racing at Kansas today. There are tire tests on the way. They're going to have them at Indianapolis, which, seems like that's a no-brainer. Plus Iowa. They haven't raced there before. Watkins Glen, Martinsville. And, they're going to do another tire test at Bristol. I certainly hope they don't mess with the tire that they had at Bristol, that they could use that tire in more places. Perhaps, if anything, allow more tires to be sold at the track. More, there's 9 sets today, for instance. Well, maybe they need more than that when they race at these places just because of the fall off and the strategy involved. So, pretty cool stuff. And if anybody wasn't looking, Daniel Suarez became an American citizen this week. Congratulations. How cool is that? Walked in the front door and did it the right way. Nice job, Daniel. We are Kansas today. Christopher Bell on the pole. Chastain starts second. Noah Gragson, who's been qualifying better and starting to show up towards the front of these races, will start third. Kyle Larson fourth. Kyle Busch, fifth, who needs a win in the worst way. Ty Gibbs, sixth. Cindric, seventh. McDowell is still hanging around there, eighth. He's been qualifying really good. Chase Elliott, ninth. Chase Briscoe, 10th. Last week, Brian, by picking Denny Hamlin, managed to win again. What's that, third time you got it right?
Third time with Hamlin, yeah.
How many wins does he have this year? 3?
Yeah, I'm 3 for 3.
Yeah, 3 wins. Yeah, imagine that.
Yeah, so I got to knock that off, huh?
Start picking some other guy. Listen, it seems to me, since the 45 car has won with 3 different drivers here that's the slam dunk. I'm taking Ty Gibbs to win his first one. Which Toyota is going to win? Unfortunately, that's the way it's looking to me. I'm hoping I'm wrong because, quite frankly, I don't like Japanese cars as much as I like American cars. I'm not the only one that feels that way. All right, Dan, who are you looking at?
I'll take the 45. If you're going to take the 54, I'll go with Tyler Reddick.
Oh, jeez. Brian?
Yeah, it's a Toyota day, so I'm going to have to go with Martin Truex. He's pretty good there. He's won there before, so a little deeper in the field than I like, but I'm staying away from Hamlin, who's starting right next to him, so I'll go with Truex.
Thank you. PJ?
And I'm just going to always go against the grain. I'm going with Kyle Larson.
Well,
yeah, that's low-hanging fruit we left there, I guess.
Thank you. I appreciate it because I always go last.
Well, we could switch that around if you know what, it doesn't matter because if all 4 of us think it's going to be the same guy, it's okay. We don't have to. We don't have money on this, okay?
Should,
as I mentioned.
No, because Dan would win all the time.
Yeah. If we did, then it would be the 45 today. I did mention Jimmy Johnson. Odd that he must really like this Kansas track. I can't imagine that it's any different than any of the other cookie cutters, but this is one of Jimmy's tracks. Corey Hyman, the 43, as I mentioned. Derek Kraus making one of his rare appearances in the Cup Series will start last today in the number 6.
Austin Hill is in this race, too. Everybody's favorite driver. He's starting 34th in the 33.
Oh, I didn't even think about old Austin Hill. I wonder who do you suppose is at the top of the pecking order over at RCR in the Xfinity Series? Jesse Love has been better as a rookie than Austin Hill has. Agree or not agree?
Well, he has more opportunity to move weight around on the car.
Wow.
I like the way you think.
But if you look at the way things go, I think Hill's still the top dog there. I mean, he's been there for a couple of years. They seem to like him a lot.
And he's got money behind him. That's the big thing.
He's a bully.
I think that there's money behind old Jesse Love, too. Don't kid yourselves here.
Oh, yeah.
There is.
You know, for a while there, he was a developmental driver for Toyota. I think people they get to a certain place with someone and they say, thank you, but I'm leaving now. Well, what about our investment in you so far? Yeah, that was very nice.
RCR, though, how long is the 3-car going to hang around? I mean, he hasn't doing a whole lot. And then a lot of talk about him moving into some kind of managerial role or something. I wonder, if you hear that talk, you'd think he'd kind of want to step it up and prove him wrong. So we'll see how the car goes now from now on. But
Brian, Austin Hill money, I think you knew where it came from, didn't you?
I believe it's United Rentals. I believe his family is part owner of that company, and it's the United Rentals Chevrolet that Austin Hill is in today. But I thought I heard that somewhere that's where that money comes from.
And I guess, it also has to do with how much money you want to give Childress to have a Cup ride, too. If you're going to get out of that 3-car, you're going to need sponsorship. And maybe Jesse he moved from California as a young teenager. That same story, the kid wants to race, let's move to Charlotte. And when he got to Charlotte, he took advantage of some opportunities and was with the Toyota deal. Then he came up and was racing out of the team out of Wausau, which the Wimmer family took care of there for the kid. So he's been around a little bit, and I don't know how much money either one of them has, but maybe if they're going to be moving into that 3-car, we're going to find out. Well, thanks so much for tuning in. PJ, nice of you to have exceeded the speed limit to make it on time. I appreciate that. And to the rest of our staff, thanks. You guys do a fantastic job. The Joe Shear Memorial gets underway at 2 this afternoon. Green flag for Kansas is at 2:13. That's going to be a great day. Here's something we want everybody to remember. Real race cars have doors, even if they do climb in through the windows. Let's Talk NASCAR is produced and directed by Dangerous Dan Margetta. Our engineer is Matt Losey. For all of us involved, we love our listeners. Thanks for tuning in, And we'll see you next week, everybody.
This program has come to you live from multiple locations via Skype. Any and all comments expressed on this show do not necessarily express the opinions of this station, its employees, or advertisers. Your comments are always welcome at mail@ltnradionetwork.com. Find us at facebook.com/LTN Radio Network. And thank you for your support since 1985. Tune in again next Sunday morning at 10 a.m. Central Time for the LTN Hour on the LTN Radio Network.